guys, and welcome back to the draft order. I'm excited to be here. It's been a long hiatus. We're getting right into the NFL draft. I'm going to go through the entire first round, all first 32 picks, and then I'm going to go through each team's overall draft haul, look at the trades they made, and give a draft score for the entire draft. I'm going to start off with the first round. We'll start off with the Raiders at number 1, getting Mendoza. Not much to say here. Give it an A. They got the best player available, or the best value available with the quarterback. They're definitely better players than Mendoza in this draft, but them needing a quarterback and him being the best available quarterback, he was going to go 101, and we knew that for months. Number 2, the Jets take David Bailey. They go out and get a pass rusher. At first, I was a little upset about this pick. I was just thinking, here we go again. The Jets are making a little bit of a more win-now move, despite being a team that hasn't been in win-now territory for some time now. But as I cooled off, thought about this pick more, you got to remember David Bailey is an elite pass rusher. He was wrecking teams down at Texas Tech, blowing up their offensive line. This is a good pick. I'm giving him a B. Number 3, we have Jeremiah Love going to the Cardinals. I'm giving this pick a D. I just don't believe that a rebuilding team should be drafting a running back in the top 3, regardless of how special he is. They're not going to be able to use him. They're going to be behind in games. Yeah, he has some pass catching ability, but overall, you let your franchise quarterback go in Kyler Murray. You should have traded back here or just find a different prospect. But Love is a great talent, and hopefully they can rebuild their team fast enough to be able to use him. Or he's going to have his best years on his next team like Saquon Barkley did for the Giants. At number 4, we have Carnell Tate to the Titans. I really like this pick. I know they had a lot of needs, and maybe they shouldn't have went receiver with their first pick, but overall, I think it's a good thing. You got to be able to look at your quarterback, Cam Ward, and see if he is the guy that that's going to take you to the promised land and move forward with. And the only way you're going to be able to do that is if you have competent pieces on that offense that he can throw to. Because if you leave him with the garbage that he did have last year, just Ridley basically, you're never going to be able to tell if he's the guy in all that dumpster fire. Oh, but they'll pass up on him because they'll blame him. So let's give him a chance. I like this from the Tennessee Titans. At number 5, Avril Reese goes to the Giants. This is an A+ move for the Giants. I mean, the second best prospect in the draft falls into our lap at 5. So you gotta love that here. At number 6, the Chiefs finish our first draft day trade, and they move up to get Mesner Delane. I don't really like this trade up here. They paid a lot to get him at paying a 3rd and a 5th. And I'm not really sure that there was another team that was going to take him. Yeah, there was some speculation with the Saints, but I don't know. It seems like Steve, the LSU guy they were going to draft. You also have to question if a team like this should be training up at all. Are they contending for the championship? I know you have Patrick Mahomes, but he just tore his ACL, and we saw last year this team didn't have enough talent. But overall, they get a guy that was a huge need for them after letting their 2 cornerbacks go in the offseason and trade and free agency. So that's a good plus here. I'm going to give it a C overall. At number 7, Sonny Styles goes to the Commanders. I think they got the best player available at the draft slot. I'm giving them a B+ here. Some would say they could have went Caleb Downs, but I think they take the true linebacker for position of value, and they're happy here. At number 8, Jordan Tyson to the Saints. I like this pick here. This is the Saints saying we're going all in on Tyler Strong. We drafted a first-year quarterback that was a little bit up there in age, so we've got to go. We've got to add weapons. I mean, outside of Chris Olave, they didn't have much. I think their second receiver had 25 catches throughout the year. You need to add a weapon. Give it a B. At number 9, the Browns trade down to number 9 with the Chiefs. They get Spencer Fano. This is a good time for let you guys know my general rule of thumb is if an NFL team needed a offensive line, guard, center, doesn't matter the position, you get a B plus for drafting one, especially in the first round. Go get those top, talent guys. I'm giving this an A plus because they got so much value back trading down tonight, and they were still able to address the need at tackle. 10, Francis Munga for the Giants. I'm giving them a B plus on the draft score for going out there and getting some offensive line help for a team that was in the bottom 10 of sacks allowed last year. At number 11, the Cowboys take Caleb Downs. I love this pick, A plus. I think this makes them the winner of the first day of the draft. Caleb Downs was the most impactful player on that Ohio State 2014 championship team. He gives you major flexibility for your positional needs in the defense. He's primarily a safety, but he's played a lot of linebacker at Ohio State and Alabama. I love this pick here. And you don't really pay much. You give up 2/5. And at 12, Caden Proctor goes to the Dolphins. Give him a standard B score, B plus. The only thing I would add of note here is Caden Proctor. There's a lot of talk about his weight. He obviously plays, weight is a concern for him. I'm a little worried when Miami I worry about this with teams like Miami and Vegas when they take a guy that seems to have some character issues or some focus issues. You gotta hope that the Miami nightlife scene doesn't take him. At 13, the Rams shock everybody and take Ty Simpson. This is the worst pick of day one. This is the biggest draft day one loser, the Rams. I give this a big fat F. They're the top half of the first round. You go and take a backup quarterback. It's just way too rich. I don't even think anybody else was going to draft Ty Simpson in that first round. And if they did, it was probably going to be in that back half. This is a total reach here. And it's a shame because they did such good business to get basically this bonus pick from Atlanta last year. And it falls in Atlanta because Atlanta wasn't supposed to be this bad. As strictly a player, I worry about Ty Simpson as a starter in the NFL. I mean, he sat behind Jalen Milroe for multiple years. You got to question a guy that couldn't beat out Jalen Milroe. And we all don't believe that Jalen Milroe's a future starter in the NFL. At number 14, Ravens get Olo Vega Mwatne at B+. This is my favorite offensive tackle because of the light in the back, obviously. Played at Penn State. He didn't allow a sack or take a penalty for the last 2 years. The Ravens are getting a dog. At number 15, the Buccaneers take Ruben Bain Jr. This is where Ruben Bain Jr.'s slide ends. He was a very productive edge rusher at Miami. 7.5 sacks on his freshman year, 9.5 his last year there for his junior year. But he has 2 major red flags, 2 incidents of reckless driving that somehow disappear. And then he's on the bottom 1 percentile for arm length for pass rushers at this position. I'm gonna give them a C+. It's a lot of value here. I don't think you could continue to pass them up, but with those red flags, you worry a little bit. For number 16, Kenyon Sadiq for the Jets. This is the best tight end in the class. Though he wasn't very productive at Oregon, he was a combine warrior. One of the best broad jumps tested for tight ends, and he was really good in the 40. The Jets hope that they can develop him into a deep threat for their offense for years to come. I'm going to give this a B. At number 17, I'm going to take Blake Miller for the Lions. That's giving them a B score, B+. They're rebuilding a style of line after some surprise departures over the last couple of years. Number 18, Caleb Banks for the Vikings. I'm going to give this a C. First D tackle off the board. They take a guy with major foot injury history. That's usually not good for big guys like Caleb Banks. So with that risk, I can only give this a C. At number 19, the Panthers add some beef, B+, Monroe Freeling. Number 20, the Eagles trade up to get Micah Lemon. The Eagles are bouncing back from the pre-departure of A.J. Brown as we expect him to leave on June 1st through a trade to the Patriots. So they add another big play receiver This could make them wind up in another 1A, 1B situation with Devontae Smith. The only worries for me is that who's going to be that big possession target. I mean, Dallas Goedert or Eli Stover could step up into that role, but you do got to worry about if there's a little bit too much familiarity between the games of Mike Hyland and Devontae Smith. Give this B plus though. I love the talent. At 21, the Steelers go offensive line. Give them a B plus on the B score. 22, Akeem Mesidor. This is a 6-year senior that was productive at West Virginia and Miami. He walks into a position on a contending team with a pretty good defense in the Chargers and can contribute to their pass rush rotation on day one. I really like this pick for them. And being that they're contender and that this is such late in the draft, you don't really have to worry about the age and not even too much worried about a second contract at this point. I give this a B. At 23, Mikashi Lawrence, Cowboys B+. It looks like this is a little bit of a reach here, but apparently the Cowboys have been linked to this guy since pre-draft. So this was always their guy. They see him as the best edge rusher on the board, and they don't pay too much to go get. They get this guy on the trade down. They trade down with the Eagles, so they also had some value with getting 2 fourths from the Eagles to get this pick, which pays for what they paid to get Caleb Downs. So I really love this here. B+. 24, we got KC Concepcion. Browns, they take clearly their guy as a third wide receiver off the board, or fourth wide receiver off the board, KC Concepcion, plus Evans on a C+. I really thought Amari Cooper was slightly better, but you gotta, I'm not a talent scout. I trust the Browns to say this is their guy. 25, Dylan Thielman for the Bears. This is a slam dunk pick for me. It fills a clear need that they had in their defense that was atrocious last year. The only reason why we thought it was good is because it kept creating turnovers. And this guy sticks with that culture as well. He had 8 interceptions in his career in college. Give us a B. Number 26, we got Kalen Rutledge for the Texans. They traded up and swapped a third for a fifth. I'm giving them a B+ here because they really do need to help CJ Stroud on the offensive line and try to get this running game going. 27, Chris Johnson for the Dolphins. Not a fan of them giving up a third for a fourth here. Not sure any of the teams between them would have selected this guy because the ones really needed a corner. Yeah, and moving on to number 28, we got Caleb Bloom for the Patriots. They trade up to get this guy. I'm okay with the Patriots doing that here because they are a team that is slightly above schedule, so they can afford to take some draft risks here. I mean, they were just in the Super Bowl this year, so they got hopes of retooling and getting back. At 29, the Chiefs take Peter Woods, a D tackle. This is a great nose tackle with pass rushing ability. And then he gets to learn from Chris Johnson, one of the best D tackles in the game. I like this pick here. Give him a B. Number 30, Omar Cooper Jr. goes to the Jets. They are able to pick him up by only giving up a 6 to move back into the first round. That gives them the 5th-year option for Omar Cooper Jr. And in this day and age where receivers are making $45 million a year on average value, this is great business by the Jets. Give that an A. At 31, Keldrick Falk for the Titans, edge rusher. I'm giving them a D for this draft, for this pick, not because I don't like the player, but because they paid so much more to move into the first round than the Jets did. And at 32, Jordan Price goes to the Seahawks. Clear luxury buy here. They needed a running back. They like Kenneth Walker. And Zach Charbonnet is going to be injured for some time after tearing his ACL late in the season. They get to C+. Wasn't many holes for the Seahawks to fill, so they could do something like this. Here's down my grades for the draft picks of the first round. Hey guys, so I decided I'm going to split this up into 2 episodes. You just want to click on the link right here to get my total draft haul grade. So looking at a team's entire slate of picks 1 through 7 and giving a grade based on how I think they did. Talk to you next time.